So in today's video we're going to talk about division with decimals in the answer, or where it doesn't come out quite evenly. So we need to take some extra steps. In the last video we talked about division where it has an even answer. The answer is a whole number, like 1 or 2 or 3. But sometimes your answer won't be a whole number, it'll have decimal places in it. Like your answer 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. It's not a whole number, it has a little extra on it. I'm going to show you really quickly what I mean. So I'm just going to draw a little, we'll call them matchsticks. So let's say you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 matchsticks. So you have 9 and you want to divide it by 3. If you have 9 and you want to divide it by 3, you can circle out your sets of 3 nice and evenly. It all comes out into sets of 3. 9 divided by 3 equals 3. But if you have, let's say, 10, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 matchsticks, and you want to say 10 divided by 3, it's not going to work out evenly with a whole number answer. So let's circle them and see it. Got 1 set, 2 sets, 3 sets of 3, and 1 left over. Now at lower levels for maths, you might be okay, you might get away with an answer like 3 remainder 1, 3R 1. That might be okay at lower levels. You'd have to check with your teacher to see which course you're on. Is that okay according to the mark scheme, according to the answer sheets for your exams? At higher levels, let's say functional skills 1 or 2, which is what I mostly teach, saying 3 remainder 1 won't do. At this level you're expected to do a little more and finished off, because if you've just said 3 remainder 1, that's not really a number that you can work with. You can't really do much more with it aside from round it to 3 and work from there. But let's say it was money. 3 remainder 1, you haven't dealt with that remainder, you don't know what it is. It's not £3, it's not £4. If you were trying to work out accurate prices, you can't do that with 3 remainder 1. So you have to work on and do what's called decimal points in your answers. So let's say it is 10 divided by 3. We're going to do our bus stop here. Got 10 divided by 3. Similar to what we were doing before, you can't divide 3 into 1, so pop a 0 up above if you like. You can fit 3 into 10, we've seen over here. 3 or 10 divided by 3 leaves us with 3 and that remainder 1. What you do to finish this out is you put down a decimal point above and below in the bus stop. So it has to be in the number that you are dividing and it has to be in your answer. And you put a couple of zeros after, do 2 to begin with and see how you go. So we've said it's remainder 1. You take that remainder and put it up with the next 0. Now you've got 10 again. So again, you can say 3 remainder 1. And now you've got 10. So you go 3, put down another 0, remainder 1. And again, this one's going to repeat forever. It's going to be 3.33333333 forever. And you can see that repeating pattern starting So you'd stop there. In your exams, you want to go usually to 4 decimal places in your answer because it's more accurate. So while you're working on your sums, while you're working out the problem, you go to 1, 2, 3, 4 decimal places for accuracy. You might leave your final answer with 4 decimal places in it, again for accuracy, or it might make more sense to round it up. For example, if you're working with money, you normally don't see 4 decimal places with money. You would normally see, I'm just going to write it down the bottom right hand corner, with, excuse my writing as usual, with money you would normally see it rounded up to 2 decimal places, like £3 33 or £3 and 33p. With rounding, the rule is that if your last number, before you want it to be rounded up, is 4 or lower, the next number stays the same. If this number here was a 5 or higher, we would have to call this 3.34 pounds. We'd round up to the next number. Okay, let me show you a couple of more examples so you can get used to it, and then you should do some practice for yourself. Let's get a new page. Let's say we've got a bigger number than 10. Let's say it is 327 divided by 2. Now you'll remember last time, if you watched the last video that is, that I said it's a good idea to write down on the side of your page all the multiples you can think of, at least up to 9 multiples, while you're getting used to it. Once you're comfortable and you know these off by heart and you don't need to write them down anymore, you can just do it in your head and you're very confident with it, then you don't need to write these down. That's probably enough. Let's just do to 10 for a nice round number. Okay, so I've got my multiples on the side. Everything, if you start with 2 times 1 all the way up in your times tables, at least as far as 9, that's as many as you'll need for this, for a single digit division. You've got a single digit, that's your divisor. The thing that you are dividing by, the number that you're dividing by is your divisor. Okay, so let's look at this. You have 3 divided by 2. Now, the closest I can get to 2, or to 3, sorry, is 2, which is my first multiple of 2. So 3 divided by 2 is 1. The distance between 2 and 3 is 1 again, so there is 1 left over between 2 and 3. So now we have 12. I've carried the remainder to make 12 with the next number. So our next question is 12 divided by 2. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 12 divided by 2 is 6, so we write that up above. Next number to divide, we've got 7 divided by 2. 7 divided by 2 will not go evenly. It has to go in evenly, or else we'll have a remainder, so we have to look for the one that is nearest. You have to look for the multiple that is nearest to 7, but without going over. So the nearest one to 7 is 6. So that is 1, 2, 3. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And we have 1 left over. So like the last one, I have to extend my bus stop a little bit here. We need to put in our decimal point. and make it visible. There we go. Add a couple of zeros and see what we come out with. So we said 2 times 3 is 6. The difference between 6 and 7 is 1. There is 1 left over between 6 and 7. So we add the 1 here, and 10. We have 10. So counting out to 10, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 times 5 is 10, therefore 10 divided by 2 is 5. My answer is 5. I have no remainders, so I don't particularly need this last 0. If it was money, I would put a 0 here, because we don't usually write money like 163.5. You'd write 160p or 163 pounds, 0.50 or and 50p. But as we don't need it, I'm not saying it's money, so we don't need to put the 0 up above. I'll show you another one. Let's say 79 divided by 3. So again, we'll do out our multiples. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27. So that's at least as far as 9. So let's have a look. We've got our first number. Can you divide 7 by 3? Yes, you can. So the nearest you can get to 7 is 6. 3 times 2 is 6, so 6 divided by 3 is 2. But our 6 is not quite 7, so between 6 and 7 you have 1 left over. That's the difference between them. Next up we've got 19. 19 divided by 3. It won't go evenly, but the closest I can get is 18. So 18, 3 times 6 is 18, so 18 divided by 3 is 6. Cool. Now we've got something left over again. It didn't go evenly. We put down our decimal point. We put down, it was 1 left over. The difference between 18 and 19 is 1. So now we have 10. Put your decimal point above if you've forgotten. 10 divided by 3. We know what this is going to be from our early example. It always comes out the same. The nearest you can get is 9. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So your answer is 3 and a 0. You've got a remainder because it's 9. It's going to be remainder 1. So you've got 10 again. And this will go on forever, so I'm just going to stop there with that one. Hopefully you're getting the idea of how these work. Let's do one more for another example, and then you should try your own to practice. You can make up your own sums to practice, or if you have a worksheet, you can use that. So, last one. That 3 came out a little funny, but okay. You have 139 divided by 4. So, let's do our multiples first. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, oops, just cleaning that up. Okay, 32, 36. There we go. So, first off, Can we divide 1 by 4? No, we can't. It's too small. Put a 0 up above. Now we have 13. 13 is big enough. We can definitely divide it into sets of 4. We can look at our multiples down the side and we can see 12 is the nearest that we can get without going over 13. So 4 times 3 is 12. 12 divided by 4 is 3. And you have 1 left over. The difference between 12 and 13 is 1. If you counted out, the difference between 12 and 13 is 1, so you have 1 left over. Your remainder is 1, and you carry it to your next number. Now we have to look at 19 divide by half 2. Go back to 16. If you look at 16, you can tell that 4 times 4 is 16. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times 4 is 16, so 16 divided by 4 is 4. Now you have to work out the difference between 19 and 16, or between 16 and 19, whichever way you want to count it. If you count it up, you can say 17, 18, 19. That's 3. You have a remainder 3 or 3 left over. Now we've carried the 3, added it to the 30, or sorry, added it on to the 0 as a 10, and it makes it 30. So we look down our multiples and see how close we can get to 30. 32 is too big. We've got to go with 28. If you count down, you can tell that 4 times 7 is 28. So our answer here is 7. But we'll have a remainder. 28 is not quite 30. You have to say 29, 30. That's 2 spaces. You have a remainder 2. Extend your bus stop a little more. And now 20. 20 divided by 4, looking down. 20 is on our list of multiples. You can say 4 times 5 gives you 20. So 20 divided by 4 is 5. Okay, so you have your examples of how you do multiplication with single digit numbers, numbers that you have times tables for. Like I said a minute ago, you want to practice now. Make up your own sums, or if you have a worksheet, use your worksheet. I hope this has been helpful.